So you'll see this is just a standard magnet. It's a bit stronger than a fridge magnet, nothing medical grade. And look what appears. These black particles out of the solution. So I was really happy that this happened because I thought, great, now I've got something that I can actually look at under the microscope. And then just to show you just a little bit up close so you can see these particles a bit better. It almost looks like these little fish swimming around, but you can see that they are quite separate.
Yeah, I've seen many of these. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So to try and get those particles out with a spoon, they just disappear. So I had to literally put the magnets into the glass and get them to pop up onto the magnet itself.
Yeah.
To collect them. You'll see, boom. So that is the black goo. Here we go in this next picture. How that would soon add up in your body, this black goo. You're wondering, well, what is that? You know, why would that be there? So I literally put that goo on a slide and put it under a microscope. I added, and then the first picture that came up when I put the microscope to show on the screen was this. And I know some people have seen these videos before, but I mean, this is the image that showed to me. And I just knew immediately this was, you know, very malevolent because it just looked like a great alien. And I've never seen anything like this before in a microscope. And this is the image just up close. And it just actually quite shocked me. It made me feel quite sick. I've had it confirmed that the first particles that we saw were what we called iron oxide magnetized nanoparticles, which is these things, you know, which we saw. We go back to this first sample, okay? And these are put into pharmaceutical products because we're told it's to help get products into cell. But we know that displaced iron in the body is very, very toxic for the body. And especially if it's non-heme iron, you know, this type of iron, it can cause blood coagulation, clots, you know, thrombosis, all sorts of things. It's going to cause the blood to coagulate if we have too much of this in our body, you know, such as high iron. So it's, you know, it's really, I can't really see the benefit of putting this inside these products. And then when I did some more research, I was discovering what graphene oxide looks like under the microscope. And, you know, verbally, I've had this confirmed that, yes, they have been putting these products into pharmaceuticals for a number of years. So it's really just to make everybody aware that, you know, these things are there inside things that we're ingesting. They have an amazing product called Clean Slate, which is a zeolite product. And a zeolite goes around the little crystals, clinoptilolite crystals, and they go around the body and they have a highly negative charge to them. And all these heavy metals have a very highly positive charge. So what they do is they go around the body and they start attaching themselves to these heavy metals and help pull them out. And, you know, I really wanted to do my own little experiment with Clean Slate to see if I could see these beautiful little crystals attaching onto any heavy metals, you know. So what I did was I decided with the solution I had from the antibiotic capsule to put some of the Clean Slate into the actual solution and to see, you know, what effect that would have on these positively charged magnetized particles in the solution. So I left the solution for 48 hours and then I did the same with my magnet. I put it up to the glass to see what effect it had. And if you remember from the first video I just showed you, these particles came very quickly and they were very highly attracted to the magnet. Sorry about this, it's just home video footage. And you can see that 48 hours later, these particles have lost their charge and they're not as attracted to the magnets. It's a, you know, much slower pull. And it was just so amazing to find that, because for me, it shows that Clean Slate does do its job. I see clients and I do heavy metal toxicity tests with them, you know, through laboratories. And we do sort of like provocated urinalysis tests to see what the heavy metal load is. And anyone who's had heavy metal, high heavy metals, I've suggested that they go on the Clean Slate protocol, just taking Clean Slate 10 drops twice a day and retesting again 3 months later. And you can see that all the markers do come down taking Clean Slate. It's such an effective way to get the heavy metals out of your body without it. The usual detox protocol for heavy metals is a product called DMSA, which pulls out not only heavy metals, but it pulls out all the minerals as well. And then it sort of stirs things up. And then you need the chelation agents as well to pull out the heavy metals that have been disturbed. And they could be likely to go and settle somewhere else if you're not chelating correctly at the same time. But with Clean Slate, you don't need to do any of that. It's just so easy. You just take 10 drops twice a day, and it's as effective as DMSA protocols. So I'm so happy with this, and you know, it's really information I want to share with everybody.
Caroline, Are you sure that's not DMSO?
DMSO, sorry, DMSO. Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
And zeolite can chelate and detox you from these disgusting heavy metals. Thank you.
So, we don't always know what we're getting in some of the supplements that we're taking is what I really want to demonstrate. You can see how I'm moving it. And we've got to be very discerning of the brands that we choose these days, because a lot of the nutraceutical brands have been taken over by Big Pharma. And there's no reason on earth why we should have magnetized particles in a capsule from a vitamin D capsule at all. In fact, whatever the substance is, be it iron oxide, if that is mixed with vitamin D, those two together are very toxic. So, just to be very careful. And again, looking at solutions to help try and remove these things from our body. They really shouldn't be, we shouldn't be ingesting such things. But that was quite fascinating to see. The video didn't play it very well, but it was just moving like a ballet dance. And then when I left that solution for a little while, I came back to it. I noticed that they all disappeared. And I was thinking, where have they all gone? And I had to search around the slide, and they all became very attracted to each other, and they all gathered at one end of the slide, which I found quite interesting as well. I can't really talk to that because I don't know what it was or what it's doing. But if that was happening in the body, then that wouldn't be very beneficial for us going forward. Can you see that message on my screen?
Yes.
Okay. I think, yeah. There we go. Okay, so what else would I like to share with you? I've also got some images of some blood, if my computer would allow me. So I just want to show you some comparisons. When we're looking at blood, for example, under the microscope, these are red blood cells, the little bubbles you can see. And this little fella here is neutrophils, a white blood cell. They're the main white blood cell, the first line of defense for an invading bacteria that enters our system. And when we're looking at red blood cells, we want them to be all roughly the same shape and size. And the outside of the membrane edge will have a highly negative charge. And so the cells will be bouncing off each other. And we want to have a nice smooth membrane as well. And this is how the blood flows, and delivers oxygen and nutrients and takes away waste products and do what it's supposed to do for us, basically. Now, people have asked me, have I looked at the blood of people who've had, the intervention over the last couple of years? And I just wanted to show you what blood can look like. This was taken at the site of the intervention in the upper arm. And you can see that these red blood cells are no longer have a smooth, beautiful membrane edge. This is obviously mixing in a very toxic soup in that area because this person's arm was very swollen, okay? It's just affected, the red blood cells are affected by this toxicity. So, and then looking at the peripheral blood sample as well at the time, it wasn't just at the site, it was going around the body. The red blood cells were affected all around the body. So, and looking at quite a few different people's bloods under the microscope, again, this is another example. This is very, very typical of a lot of people who have taken the intervention. It affects what's called the zeta potential of the blood, where the blood is a colloidal solution, and the red blood cells should have that net negative charge on the outside. And when there's an element of toxicity within the system, then the blood will lose that charge and start to clump together. And this is a lot of what has been seen, around the world. And this is just another example of some poor chap as well. And this is what we call a lot of fibrin formation here in the background, which is showing that there's these are acute phase proteins from the liver. So there's a lot of stress in the system, and these acute phase proteins, this fibrinogen is quite sticky. So again, that contributes to the stickiness of the blood. And then we may have we can see some platelet budding here as well. And these three things together, when we get this rouleau, we call it, when we get the stacking of the red blood cells, the C-reactive protein, or the fibrinogen, sort of inflammation marker really, and the platelet budding, then we mark that between 1 and 5 and work out how severe it is. And if all we're at 5, then we've got some kind of thrombotic condition going on. So it's just quite interesting to show people these images. But obviously there are solutions out there, and as I've said, the Root brand Clean Slate is one of them to try and remove some of this toxicity from your system. What we're seeing here is microclotting. So, there are solutions out there. There are a number of solutions, and it's just really important that people are aware of what's going on and how they can help themselves. Another thing that I do to try and help people get to the root cause of their problems. I saw these spinning molecules, and one of the molecules seemed to have 100% intention, like a consciousness. And we talk about the quantum level. Anything at the quantum level has its own consciousness, you know, it's a microcosm. So I just want to play you this video, and you'll see that there's one molecule that comes back to investigate another molecule. Now, this solution has come out of a bottle, a flower remedy bottle that was sent to me, you know, through the post of a number of other flower remedies. You wouldn't expect to see any life, would you, as such? But when we see things at the quantum level, we see intelligence and life. So I just want to leave this with you. So these are little all different shaped particles, different sizes. Now this one moving around is not going with the flow. I'm sure you'd agree. He goes. This part, the one there in the middle, is just stopped. So he keeps coming back to investigate him. He's almost hovering like a spacecraft, you know, doing his own thing.
Yeah.
It was just, honestly, it's the most amazing video. And I was thinking, he's going to bump into him. Boom, he bumped into him. And the video's frozen. He didn't stay for long. He decided after that to move off. But he came and he went and he investigated. And for me, that's just phenomenal. And it just shows that when we look at things under the microscope, we get to see life in a totally different way. I feel so, you know, as I keep saying, I feel so blessed with the work that I do, because I see things that a lot of people wouldn't get the opportunity to see. And it just helps make sense of what you know, what's going on in the world. So yeah, I just want to leave that with you. It's just been, you know, grateful that I can come on and just reach some people out there who needed to see this. So yeah, really happy. Thank you.